Okay, so let's start with this because you can't stop smiling. How long have you known that this was going to happen? Like, when did this become a thing that you were going to be the first signee of the Ascent?
I knew I was going to be playing for the team. I didn't know I was going to be the first signing. So that was within the last month, I'd say I knew.
Yeah.
So I'm still on Cloud 9.
Okay, and let's just explain what Cloud 9 is. You've come home.
It's a little bit higher than Cloud 8.
Yeah. You've come home, and we'll get to the Cannon School in a minute because that thing's a factory that I've been wanting to ask questions about for years. But you played at North Carolina. You played at Davidson. Quickly, I assume the reason to go to North Carolina as a soccer player and a girl growing up is the Mia Hamm thing?
Yes. It's the best school in the world for soccer, especially at the time. It's every little girl's dream. How could you not wear that, Carolina blue if you had the option? Won a national championship, so it's pretty fun time.
So
best friends for life.
So let me specify the whole coming home thing. You've played professional soccer in places that are unpronounceable. I'm not even going to try. I'm just going to say that you played in Cyprus, and I can pronounce Iceland.
Yeah.
Good luck on what you can't even pronounce the town you played in Iceland.
Hafnarfjörður.
Yeah, spell it.
Yeah,
that's what
H-A-R-F-N-A-R.
I was looking for vowels. It was just nothing but 30 consonants.
No, yeah.
I didn't know how you pronounce that.
No, yeah.
And then you played in Scotland.
I did.
Did you ever think, as a girl growing up playing soccer and dreaming of playing soccer, and I'm assuming, growing up, you assume the dream is to play for the United States women's national team. And you think in your head, okay, maybe that's as high as I could possibly go in this country. I can play overseas. Did you ever in your wildest dreams think, number one, you'd be able to play pro soccer in America, and number two, you get to do it in your hometown?
I did not think that would happen. So I like to set goals for myself, and then I like to be kind of realistic about them. So I first, as a kid, you're like, oh, I want to play professionally, and you don't even know if that's possible. Maybe you want to play in college first, you do all that, and then like, okay, I want to keep going, and you try that, and then I did that overseas. So I was like, okay, I'm succeeding in this route. Maybe this is the only way I can do it. So, you can hang up the boots or you can keep trying. And my dream was always to play in the U.S. And now that this came about, it's just absolutely amazing because I would have, taken any team in the U.S. And now I get to take the team in my hometown, like where I learned to play the sport and I grew up and I have friends and family here and now I get to play in front of them. Mom
and Dad have to be ecstatic. I mean, they're losing some frequent flyer miles going to Iceland and Cyprus and Scotland, but they get to be there every game. How great is that?
It's so great. They actually even came to every game when I was in college. At UNC they went to every home game. At Davidson they went to every home and away game. They would fly anywhere. They were just my biggest supporters and biggest fans. And even when I've lived in Australia and other countries, they've always come to visit. Doesn't matter if it's a 30-hour trip or 10-hour trip, but they always make the effort, and now they get to just do it in their backyard and come support their daughter.
I want to ask you about those other places in a second, but like I said at the beginning, I've been dying to ask you about the Cannon School. For those who don't, you grew up in the Concord-Kannapolis area.
I grew up in Cornelius.
Excuse me.
High school in Concord, yeah.
But the Cannon School is an athletic factory. I know this. My son was a golfer, and the Cannon golfers, you wanted no part of them. And I knew that they were unreal in soccer. And so when I saw that you went there, I was like, oh my God. How early on did they first contact you, or did you first come into contact with the Cannon School about going there?
I went to Davidson Day School for all of elementary and middle school, and then my brother actually transferred to Cannon for high school because Davidson Day hadn't had a graduating class yet. So then my parents kind of figured, oh, well, her brother's there, and they still don't have a graduating class, and it's going to be maybe a little bit better in sports at the time, and so they just kind of said, you know what, we're making the executive decision. We're going to send you here. And, I'm just thinking, oh, I don't want to lose my, 12-year-old buddy who's my best friend. And like, oh, you'll make new friends, I promise. And, you'll do well there. And it was such a blessing that I ended up going there because throughout my 4 years there, I ended up missing almost like 60 days of school due to soccer. I had like national team tournaments. I had region team tournaments. I traveled the world, and they were always first in line to make sure like I could go on whatever trip I needed to for soccer as long as I stayed with my work, and they helped me email, call, everything.
No pun intended. They don't play games at Cannon. They really don't. So professionally, so intrigued about your journey. You start out at college at Carolina, then you transfer to Davidson. At any point when you're finishing up at Davidson, did you think, okay, this is the end, or did you always have in your head, I'm going to pursue this elsewhere?
I always knew I wanted to pursue it after college, but I didn't know if it was possible. So I just kind of was living in this little fairyland of a delusion. I didn't want to stop playing. So even though my season ended when I was a senior and like everyone gets to just be a normal college kid and, party and have a good time, I was still training with the team because I didn't want to stop. So the coach let me, be a practice player. And then when I graduated, I knew I still wanted to play, but my parents and I both didn't know how to make that happen. And of course, my UNC teammates were kind of all going pro or already pro. So I knew it was somewhat in the realm of possibility. I just didn't know how to make it happen.
How do you end up in Cyprus?
Honestly, most of the stuff started through friends or friends of friends. Like I got to Scotland through my friend's boyfriend. And then when I was in Scotland, I came back and a friend from UNC messaged me and said like, oh, I'm playing pro in Iceland. Are you interested? And I was like, am I interested? That sounds great. Like it's a land of ice. Why not? So I went and played there. And then I got her agent because she had an agent and was like, this is how it's all done. So I was basically every single country. I was learning something new that I didn't know before. It was trial and error for me. So when I finally got an agent, I kind of realized, oh, now, like, it's not just up to me. Other people can help me achieve this. And then other friends would say, oh, I've played here. Like, you'd love that. I know you'd love that. So that's kind of how Cyprus came about. My best friend from my college roommate from UNC, she currently plays with the Houston Dash. She told me, Vic, you're going to love Cyprus. Like, if you go there.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a gorgeous country. Like, I know you'll love it. You should go. And it's like, okay, so I went.
Okay, we're going to rank food. Okay, because you were, and I know who's number 3, because as Mike Myers once said, Scottish food is basically a dare. So we know that that's a distant third. But you have the fresh Mediterranean food of Cyprus. And then I've always heard that Iceland is not only beautiful, but food-wise, it's really good too. So who has the best food? Rank them. Cyprus, Iceland, and then we know distant third. Like way off in the distance is haggis in Scotland.
So I will say Cyprus was first, just because I loved the gyros and the pitas and everything you could get. Like, especially late at night, you could get a €4 pita, and it would just taste like, it's fresh off the meat. It's just so good.
Yes.
I actually don't love fish, so Iceland I did not really like the food, nor could I really afford it because it's very expensive. So I might put Scotland at second, just because I'm.
Oh my God!
I'm also Scottish. My last name's Bruce.
I don't care. You don't haggis. There's no way you like haggis.
No
one likes
haggis. But you could get a good little pub food maybe.
You could do some fish and chips. Okay. Well, we're very excited to meet you. Very excited to have you home.
Very excited.
And very excited for the Ascent. This is going to be something really cool, I think.
I agree. I cannot wait for the season to get rolling.